Be a little late.
If we could have your attention, please, it's time for us to start our meeting. Welcome everyone to the MACC meeting of October 28th here in Lake Township. No, we're not in Lake. We're in Fillmore Township. Fillmore Township.
Yeah.
They're close.
They are side by side.
Yep. And we will start the meeting with roll call, and Al has food in his mouth, so we'll start over here with Dennis. If you'd start the roll call, please.
Blake Wright, I'm Grand Region.
Jim Story, Allegan County. Keith Van Beek, City of Holland.
John Yunker, Fillmore Township, and that's where we are right now.
Kurt Van Boveren, out of County Road Commission.
Tom Bird at large.
Jason Latham with the MAC.
Nan Cooper, Lake Carolina.
Luke Walters, I'm at Statewide Planning.
Jim Gerard, Park Township.
Luke DeVries, Port Sheldon Township.
Kevin Kleinstreet, City of Zealand. Terry Nenai, Town Township. Tom Rook, Zealand Township. Al Nenai, Olive Township. Alex Miller, Matt. Fairfax, Matt.
Okay, and Dave Natray from ODC is here today. You'd like to have a few words for us this morning?
Good morning, everybody. Am I in a good spot? All right, live. Well, thank you for joining us here. It's Fillmore Township, right, John? Did I pronounce that correctly? Yes. Welcome to the ODC. This is our main campus. We've been here since 2000. In fact, this next year we'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary. We're pretty excited about that. The building you are in is called our Herb Aldine Education Center. We were quite fortunate to be able to open this up last spring. It's really increased our programming capacity. For those of you that might only know our organization through some of our conservation work, we're integral to the Project Clarity Water Quality Initiative in this area, as well as both the Macatawa River Greenway and the Kalamazoo River Greenway. Great partnerships that you folks support, both financially and with skills from your team members. We're really grateful for all that work, but another big part of what we do is on the education side in two main ways. One is through visitors that might come to our site and experience our nature preserves. Each year we have about 140,000 people participate in an active education program. So that's something someone signed up to do, not just coming in to walk on our trails, which are free to visit dawn to dusk every day of the year. The other big education initiative we have is we run nature-based early childhood centers. We are big proponents that when young brains are developing the most between the ages of 0 and 5, they get as much outdoor time as they can. So we have now 4 different early childhood sites, and we're working on 3 more. The most recent one we opened is in Holland Township, just south of James Street, in the old outlet mall. I'm pretty sure I did my back to school shopping and a Reebok there at some point in time, and now we have 80 kids going to early childhood and a really cool renovation project there. So apart from the education and conservation, some of the new things we're looking at getting involved in, we've been doing a lot more looking at sustainability issues, both in terms of energy, but in particular water conservation. So not just the quality of water, but looking at how we have access to water in our community. For many of you leaders that are working on those things for your residents, you know what type of resource allocation that's going to take in the long run, and if there's ways where we can be smarter with our groundwater and with the other access to water we have, that will benefit all of us. I hope you folks just enjoy your time here. Glad you're here. We're grateful for your support. Jason should know that he's pretty much got like a bat phone with me. So if he ever needs anything, he can put like a signal in the sky and dial up, and ODC loves. Yeah. Not always helpful, but I do answer. Yeah. 9 out of 10 times, we'll say. But we really just appreciate the partnership and look forward to continuing to working with you all. Any questions while you got me here?
Can I just add one thing? If you've never been to Founders Hall next door, it's free, it's open, but they have the best statue I've ever seen of a taxidermied puma or mountain lion fighting a bear, and I still don't know how they balance it because it's up in the air.
A cantilever. You can learn all about that. It won the World Championships of Taxidermy, I think, in 2012. So yes, here in Fillmore Township, you can see a legendary exhibit right next door. I noticed there were no clerks in the room, so they're all busy this time of year. They're probably just making a break for it.
What
Keith.
do you do in your spare time, possibly, that everyone around here that may not know?
Oh, I happen to be an elected official in the city of Hudsonville. I'm on their city commission, yes. So everything that you folks try to do, I try to imitate. So if I get to learn from you all, that's a benefit to me as well.
Dave thought I was going to needle him about something.
Usually, that's only when I'm in front of your council. Generally is when I get the most needling, so yeah.
Now, you still have the Mississauga rattlesnake?
I don't know if we still have one. We did at one point in time, yeah.
It's
But
not loose in the room.
no, I do often just do a little double check as I'm going by, and the program staff here have made that easier for me, as usually they'll say, oh, I am out at a program, so that when there isn't, a rat snake visible, I don't have to scurry around and look, but.
Okay, great. One other order of business before we start the agenda items. We have with us today the longest-serving member of the Policy Board. Terry Nienhuis has been serving since 1997, and 27 years of service, for which we are grateful. This may or may not be your last meeting, depending on the election and appointments, but we're glad to have you here, and hopefully you will not be a stranger to us going forward, Terry.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's been a pleasure, really. The time flies like crazy, but I always enjoyed coming, not just for the meeting itself, but the business we conduct, but for the collaboration and the time to meet other elected officials and officials from cities or townships or whatever it is. That's a big part of why people come here today, I think. I will say something else. I think currently the staff that the MACC has is probably the best ever that we've had over the years. It really is. I've seen them all.
Well, thank you for that. That's amazing. My team is the best, top notch.
They are. Thanks a lot.
I won't tell Steve that you said that.
Yeah, what's said in this room stays in this room. Yeah.
He can get away saying that since he recruited him to work for him.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we will ask for a motion to approve the minutes which have been sent to you.
So moved. Support.
Any comments or amendments to the minutes? If not, all those in favor of the motion respond by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Any public comments? I don't believe members of the public are here. So we'll turn the meeting over to Jason.
All right, transportation program, pays a report.
Pays a report. I don't have anything funny, but I just turned 43, which is probably it's not a very exciting birthday, I would say, at 43, but did get to go to Chicago for the weekend, so that was fun. But anyway, PASER rating. So for those that don't remember, PASER is the Pavement Asset Surface Evaluation and Rating System developed by the University of Wisconsin. It is used throughout many states, including the whole state of Michigan. And this is a 1 through 10 rating system on pavement conditions for asphalt and concrete, as well as some brick. So we conducted ratings in July and August of 2024, and we do our ratings every year. We're only required to do half per year, so we go above and beyond in that regard. And we do coordinate with the 4 road-owning agencies in the area to rate their roads, as well as MDOT. So we rated the entire network, which is almost 350 miles, and about 2,300 segments. So let me give you a picture. Someone's driving a van, I'm in the passenger seat with a laptop clicking things. It could be every 20 feet, it could be every mile, so there's a lot of, you can only do it for so long per day. So we spread it out over 4 days, so that was good. But so we're only rating federal aid eligible roads, and again, it's a 1 through 10 scale. 1 through 4 is poor, 5 through 7 is fair, and 8 to 10 is good. And we did drive over 500 miles. Again, 4 days, 21 hours is what we did. So these ratings are used to prioritize projects in the future. So this is kind of what we're looking at for 2024. So you will see an increase in good ratings, so that's good. There is an increase in bad ratings too, though, from the previous year. So we included 2023 and 2022 in there just for everyone to kind of see the path that we're headed down. But generally, we didn't run across any roads that were like where you could take a shovel and shovel things out. So that's good. Generally, the MDOT roads were looking pretty good because they've done a lot of work in the area. And I am going to break these down by owner too. So Allegan County Road Commission, so their roads, half are good, and then the other are split, pretty much 25-25. And that map just shows where we're rating at. City of Holland, 57 miles, 37, this is kind of split into thirds pretty much for City of Holland, good, fair, poor. MDOT roads, 57% are good, 38% fair, and then only 5% are poor. And I think they're looking to address that 31 northbound pretty soon. So that would be north of New Holland, correct? I think it's somewhere up there. Ransom to Port Sheldon, maybe? Yeah, okay. Ottawa County Road Commission, so they actually have the most amount of roads in the area. Pretty much split into thirds for the most part. And then City of Zeeland has the smallest network. So we've talked to Kevin Plockmeyer about these ones, so he's aware of the good roads, which is the lowest percentage total out of all the 5 road owning agencies. So, of course, we will, I think I've already emailed these out to all road owning agencies, so a table as well as the map. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have for Pazer. I would say probably next year I'm kind of working on a system to track road degradation. That's going to be a lot of work, so I'm trying to start that just so we can see where things are going bad. But yeah, that's about it, unless there's any other questions on this.
I would just add, and I think the same is probably true for City of Zeeland. We also take this, but also integrate. We have Pazer ratings for not just our federal roads, but all of our roads. So.
And we've rode around with like Ottawa County Road Commission doing local streets, and so we do participate with them if they need an extra set of eyes. But it's a good program. Again, we're doing it every year, and hopefully over time we can track the road conditions. So, and of course, this is already uploaded to the Transportation Asset Management Council in Michigan, so we do them right away. I think it's due by December 1st, but right when we're done, that's the first thing.
Is this information posted on our website?
It will be. Yeah, I'm still kind of, between this and the path ratings, I'm doing a lot of mapping and data analysis, so it will be up on the website though. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions from anyone? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Safe Streets for All update.
I want to start by saying thank you to Terry for those very kind words. I like that a lot. I did have to mess with him a little bit though and tell him that he started in '97 and I was born in '98. So, so he's been here longer than I've been alive. So.
That's true. Now for sure it's his last one. He's Thanks a lot, Bill.
So Safe Streets for All update, we had our meeting October 10th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the MACC. Over 40 attendees, which is insane to think about for the type of meeting that we had. Even we have AECOM, they're the consultant firm that we hired, and they were not expecting this many people to come. So that just shows that the MACC is getting the word out there and people are listening. There was great engagement with Eric's map. I don't know if you all have been into the MACC recently, but Eric has this, how big is it? Like 5 foot by 5 by 6 map, and we laid it in the middle of the room, and then people, you can see the people hunched over, they were kind of pointing and putting stickers on like intersections that they thought were troubled, and it was just a really great way for everybody to picture and see what's going on, because you can say, oh, I have a problem with this street, and then not everybody knows which one you're talking about, so the fact that everybody could point was all good. And there was a good mix of you guys that came, and then also members of the public that we had no clue who they were. That's always good, because it's nice to have a lot of people, but then if it's all just people that we know, it's like, well, how much are we actually getting our message out there? It's still great to have everybody come, and we love that, but it was good to see some just true random members of the public. Is there any questions on that? So up next is, we collected all this data, AECOM has it, and then they're going to start making this document. And I think they want to be done by April, they told us, I think. So.
Yeah. Can I add that the survey and the map are still open through the end of the month. So if you have not gone on there to add pinpoints of the map of safety issues, they can still do that through the end.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep that up till November 15th. I got to let Pam know. I stopped by last week to La Houppe and met with them. We have a informational board that's in Spanish, so I left that with them. They'll be able to share that with their members. Their team is going to go through it as well. And this first public open house is really to just get feedback from the public on where do they think there's some safety issues within our area. Just whatever they happen to think that means, put it down, let us know, and then we're going to overlay that with all of the crash and serious injury, fatalities and serious injury data that we have. So I'm sure they'll line up pretty well, but if there's outliers, we want to know where those outlier locations are, and then with that information, the team, with the consultant, with our members, we're going to start developing the safety action plan, the actual safety projects that would help to alleviate those types of crashes. So very, very, very data intensive, which is exciting. And like we said, all of those projects that we develop, once this plan gets adopted by April, those projects will be eligible for federal funds in the future. We just have to go after it, that grant process. But this is a key component of that. So it was good, great meeting.
Oh, good, very good.
How much of this is being tempered with all the road construction that's occurred? We've been getting requests for signage and different things, and we're saying we're not doing anything until February or March because we want to get back to, quote, normal.
Right.
Let people get back into their normal patterns. I mean, because you got people taking shortcuts, different roads,
Right.
and we're finding out data is not that good.
So we're going back, I think, 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 10 years worth of data. So that's great right there. We have a robust data set. But really, one of the things that I really like is we're probably going to come up with a cross-section, whether it's a 4-lane road or a 5-lane road or intersections that don't have turn lanes, those kind of things, where that's where you have fatalities and serious injuries. And then we want to overlay that with what we're hearing from the public. And the public might say, well, this is where this intersection just feels unsafe to me. And that intersection might have the exact same characteristics, but yet it doesn't have the fatalities or injuries yet. We're going to include that because it has the same characteristics. That's where we're going to be able to compare what's a road cross-section that might end up leading to higher accidents. And then that will all be part of our analysis. And then the team will say, you should add turn lanes, or maybe there's a sight distance issue, maybe whether it's vertical or horizontal. What do we need to do without actually doing detailed engineering, but we're using all the engineering principles to be able to overlay it. So 10 years worth of data plus the public feedback, we should be able to hit everything. We hope.
All right, moving on, no action there. Next is, most of you should know that we are starting to work on our TIP. And one of the very first big things that we have to do is we have to get our projects that's selected that we want. So last TAC meeting was when all the projects were due. And then this upcoming one on November 7th is when we're going to actually vote on all the projects and get those into the TIP. So I have it broken down by who submitted what. We have just over $8 million for us to go towards those projects, and then we have $13 million of the projects that were submitted. So not everybody's going to get everything, but they know that. I mean, looking back at the minutes from the last time that they did this, because this will be the first time that we've done the whole go-around. We started halfway through it when Jason and I first started. But everybody knows, they all work together well. As you can see on here, the City of Zeeland didn't even submit anything because Kevin Plockmeyer mentioned how they usually do every other year. And that's not even an agreement, that's just the kind of handshake agreement that they have. So all of our members work really well together. We're not expecting any problems to happen from this, and it just sucks that we have to cut $5 million worth of projects, but it is what it is. So again, no action, just showing that for informational. Anybody have any questions, comments?
I will say that the plan, and hopefully this will go over well, we're not sure, but me and the team here, we've gone through all of these once individually. Now we're going to sit down in the next few days, and we're gonna select the projects and basically say, here's, if we were the judge and the jury, here's what we think. And we're going to put that out at that meeting on the 7th.
Yeah, that'll be good to have just as like a starting block rather than just a blank slate to be like, this is what we think. Obviously, we don't have a final say. It's all of our members, so they can agree or disagree, and we can change
We
that.
think it'll be a really good conversation starter, and it might be like, Jason, what are you thinking? That's the stupidest thing ever. This is our project. We put it together. This is what we want. But that's really what we want. Is we want to get the conversation rolling, and we figured that we're going to put it through the lens, every lens you can think of, from a financial standpoint, from an EJ standpoint, from a maybe safety standpoint, and just say, here's how we would allocate that $8,108,000. That should start a robust conversation, and then we'll see what we end up with.
All right. Next, I do have an action item. So every year we have to do with the safety targets. We could create our own, which is a very lengthy and tedious process that I don't think an MPO of our size around the state does. I think only the very large and the TMAs do it. But so these come from MDOT. One thing that I always tell people is safety target. Think of target as estimate rather than target, because obviously our target is 0 deaths. We're not like, okay, we have to have 1,098 fatalities. That's what we're going for. No, we're going for none, but that's just the estimate of it. Does anybody have any questions about these? Just standard, every year we go through this. If not, I could get a motion.
All right, now we got a motion and supported. Any comments? I know last year we discussed this at length, but any comments? All right, seeing none, then all in favor, respond by saying aye. Aye. And then opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you.
All right, that's all I have. Next we have MDOT and Mr. Dennis Kent.
Dennis, should we ask you how long you've been helping out the MACC?
Sure. It's MACC. There were kind of 4 of us that sort of organized this thing to start with. One being Soren Wolf, the other Dave Langhorse. And myself and Del McBurrows, probably somewhere back around 93-ish. So if you've been here since 97, you've been here most of the time. And that was in response to the census kicking the Holland area into the urbanized category, over 50,000. And from there, we took an existing, the MACC was, most of you probably know this, the MACC was already a kind of a volunteer organization that was focused on a lot of different items other than this, and we've sort of evolved that into an MPO. And there you've been for the last, how many years now? 30, is it? 32. So and it's worked well. So anyway, so what we have here is just a little background. MDOT and the local communities like the MACC sort of split up our federal aid and state funding through a lot of formulas that have been evolved over a lot of years. And typically, MDOT and the local projects sort of stay within their respective funding groupings. And but we still bring them to the MPOs. It's still required that the MPOs approve them. So, and as you know, projects change over time, and my cohorts come here every month and bring amendments and things, and Luke is involved, and Blake's involved, Tyler's involved. So, this is whoops, am I going? I probably went the wrong way. Don't ever give me technology. It's just the wrong thing to do. Anyway, well, I went kind of through that a little bit. We have about 9,500 miles out of about 105,000 miles statewide for all agencies, cities, villages, counties. MDOT is divided into 7 regions. We, somewhere around 15 or 16, we expanded statewide or we readjusted the boundaries, and Grand Region picked up 5 extra counties, 2 on the north, 2 on the south, and the MACC is now all within the Grand Region. And there are 6 other regions across the state. And we work together with our directives and guidance from our statewide planning and development people, not to mention from the governor and other elected officials and the State Transportation Commission, to come up with our basic directives for the program. Our focus is, let's see, there we go, got the map right that time. Our focus is on preservation. And it's been that way for a number of years. We look at reconstructing and rehabbing the existing system before we look at adding things to it. And then in some isolated cases, we actually build new facilities. Ottawa County has the distinction of being the last place that a new facility was constructed. That was M231 in northern central Ottawa County. And then as part of that whole process, US 31 from basically Lakewood to Quincy was also widened as part of that whole environmental process, which I also worked on for most of 20 years. So these things take a long time to do. So the MACC, as was noted here earlier, we've done a lot of work in this area over the last few years. And some of that's from the governor's Rebuilding Michigan program, some of it just from our normal funding categories. And there's been a lot of work on 196 in particular between Grand Rapids and Holland and Saugatuck. Also a lot of work on 31 from 196 north, and then we are currently working on the 196 business loop around Zeeland. which is ongoing currently. Our highway program is on a statewide basis, and I'll throw in some very broad generalized numbers here, which anybody is free to challenge and probably can challenge them. Having done this for a lot of years, it's very hard to find the same number twice when you start looking at budgets and things. Generally speaking, there's about $6 billion that goes into transportation for all purposes in the state every year. And that includes cities, counties, MDOT, and transit. Generally speaking, the counties get about 39%. MDOT gets about 39% of state funding. 8 to 10% goes to transit. Another, make sure I get my math right, I think around 12% goes to the cities, if that adds up correctly. If not, just adjust the figure somewhere. Something like that. As you can see here, the overall investment for MDOT, this is MDOT's program, is kind of going down to a point of being kind of stable between now and 29. The blip on the screens, which is actually lower in 25, but there was more in the earlier years, was the governor's Rebuilding Michigan program. The last year of that is in 25. That's where we're actually financing the projects. Project construction will continue for a few years. For a few years after that, any of you that go to Lansing will notice a lot of work on 96, kind of between the Saranac Rest area and the way station, east of M66. That's about a $100 million project or so. And that'll be going on for a couple years. Let's see, it's just a downward trend in funding. We're also looking at just over a number of years, and I'm sure you've all talked about this here, that the overall condition of the roads and bridges in this state, while they have improved somewhat over the last few years, a lot of that due to the bonding program, Rebuilding Michigan program, will start to decline as we get toward the end of this decade. If there isn't some additional funding put into the program, our line starts declining. That's the dark blue line out toward 2040. The counties and the cities, I'm sure, will have similar declines. Again, this is a statewide basis, not any one area. With the addition of, just one scenario, of about $2.5 billion a year extra, we can get this back up to sort of a stable 90% good condition for the roads, state trunk lines in the state. Our budget currently is, $2.5 billion. So this is roughly doubling the program we have if we were to make the 90% goal. Let's see. This is some of this I've kind of talked about. MDOT funding, our funding to the Grand Region is balanced with other statewide needs. Our focus is preserving the existing system first. We do a mix of fixes depending on the condition of the road, from reconstructions to resurfacing to preventative maintenance, which is maybe chip seals or crack seals or joint repairs on the concrete roads. And there's, as we all know, there's not enough money to meet long-term the needs, everybody's needs. This is sort of a different way of looking at what we just talked about here with the road condition. Again, the roads in this area are not too bad based on all the work that's been done lately. There's a lot of green lines here. This is what we call remaining service life. And one red line there you can see is a project that will be in the program in the next tip. So we try and have our program meet these needs based on the condition of the roadways and bridges. That work is on northbound 31 between Ransom and Port Sheldon. The southbound segment is a different pavement type, so it doesn't need work anytime soon anyway. So the cost of that's about $3.31 million. That's 2027 obligation, so it will show up in the tip in 2027, and more work will occur in 2028. Let's see, other jobs maybe of significance would be a signal modernization program, which is kind of a region-wide program that we get again from Lansing. This particular time, the signal that's addressed here is on 31, and which is also known as the 196 business loop between or at 32nd Street. Proposed construction again for that is in the same time frame, about $305,000 is what's programmed. If you get to the TIP projects themselves, which I don't think is on this PowerPoint, but you guys probably have it over there, we have a number of other sort of smaller scale projects that are sign replacements, pavement markings, and just sort of ongoing things like that as time progresses. So once that we've got your roads into a better condition, we're going to be doing more routine things along the way. So we try to look for opportunities to partner with communities if there's things that we need to do with the project, if we can. We try and coordinate, it doesn't always work, but we try and coordinate MDOT construction schedules with local agency schedules. It's always a challenge because there's a lot of different funding sources and funding years, and just a lot of variables can't always, you can't always control. And then the formal project list will be included in the TIP at the same time as the local projects. That's all I got. Take any questions, anybody has them?
Do you find the funding going down with the electric vehicles and less gas tax?
Oh, yeah, that's an ongoing discussion also. There are some, the funding's kind of going down even without the electric vehicles because vehicles are getting more fuel efficient. That's been going on for probably the last 20 years. The gas tax has been adjusted and adjusts for inflation now, but it doesn't account for the loss in revenue from EVs and from fuel efficiency and things. So there's a lot of discussion in the legislature ongoing about what to do with the funding, whether we should look at vehicle miles traveled source as an alternate source rather than looking at gas tax would be based on how much you travel regardless of what your what your fuel type is. There was some adjustment to the vehicle registration with the last increase, which was 17, I think, 18, somewhere in there. And tolling is another discussion that comes up, although that's been, that was directed to do a study of tolling a couple of years ago, and I think there's some preliminary findings that maybe are going to the legislature at some point, but it's honestly been kind of quiet for a while. But yeah, so it's a known issue. It's just there isn't a specific solution to it yet. Yes.
Yeah, to address that, I'm on the County Road Association Board of Directors, and we've been looking at this in considerable depth. And the all-electric vehicles, they do pay a higher registration fee. It doesn't really cover necessarily the actual mileage, the average mileage that people drive, which is 14,500 or whatever that is. The bigger issue right now, and this could change, is the hybrids that are getting, these substantial increases in mileage, and there's really no adjustments for those that are substantial.
Yep, it's a good point.
So we've put quite a bit of time into looking at these things. I know MDOT has as well. You know, we've had discussions with them. Of course, this all has to go through the legislature
Yes.
at the end of the
Yes.
day. But yeah,
Well, one of my takeaways that is 2.5 million, or billion
Yeah.
shortfall per year, and that's just with MDOT.
That's
If
just-
I'm not mistaken, that matches up pretty close with what County Road.
that is correct. You know, we've got about 90,000, a little over 90,000 miles of road, about 5,900 bridges in the state under the county system. And that doesn't even address the municipalities, but yeah, it's a similar number.
Yeah, so that's 5 billion a year, and then we're not including the city streets
Yeah.
in that number of the shortfall.
Yep.
And the federal gas tax, I haven't heard any discussion about addressing the EVs or.
Some of that was, no, I don't think they've addressed EVs, but I think some of that was attempted to be addressed with, you know, the last reauthorization where there were a lot of competitive grants put into the program, which are great if you get them, but not so great if you don't get them.
Yeah, that's why I'm really looking forward to our Safe Streets for All, getting that safety action plan done by April, and having 20, 30, or 40 projects in there, and really supporting our members to go after that construction money for those projects. Which, I mean, it's probably not going to be miles of pavement,
No,
but
it'll
it
be
still will be
some spot
projects.
locations and
Yeah,
things,
they're
yeah.
really needed.
Yeah.
And that's a whole separate funding source.
Yep.
And maybe we can,
Yep.
if we do it right, hopefully we'll get several $1 million.
Well, the thing that's helped also in this area a couple of times is there was so much of what I generally refer to as COVID relief money around in the general fund for a number of years. But there were some individual projects that were pulled out of that and then funded from, you know, not the formula funding that we all cities and the counties get. A couple of notable ones around Grand Rapids, and there's one in Muskegon that just got one, and you know, so that's been helpful. But again, it's, you know, it's hit and miss. You know, Keith.
Thanks, Dennis. And Jason kind of hit, both these gentlemen hit that. You had a $2.5 billion figure short. And if you did that, we kind of got back to where I think we all want to be. And I think you said that's like double where you are now, but I was thinking maybe I was looking at the numbers, it's actually triple where your funding is more now.
Quite triple. Again, it depends on what you count. We're
Yeah, but really doesn't matter. I think more importantly, it just shows. And then you throw on the county number on top of that. I think some of the pain right now, maybe we feel like, oh, projects are getting done and there was a one-time injection of money. So we might feel like, oh, like things are good. And the reality is we have data that shows we still have a broken model. And we're destined to just have a mess again unless we have a long-term plan.
And you know, if you know, going to the other modes, transit has needs that are not met also. And I'm sure you can, you know, transit can provide those numbers, similar numbers. So yeah, by just looking at this, by 29, we're down to about 1.75 per year, 715 per year. So you are probably closer to correct at the end of the process.
I guess our frustration is we're getting money to preserve what we have. We're the fastest growing county in the state, and we cannot address the needs for the growth and what's being projected. Is there any ways that they're looking at growth funds or so they can make investments?
The growth funds, this is my observation. The numbers that I've put out here are basically for preservation of what we have. The growth projects have come from non-formula sources in the last few years. You know, either the COVID relief funding, budget surpluses. You know, that's what's occurred in the last few years. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. The $2.5 billion does not really address that, and yeah, it's difficult for, you know, you're one of Ottawa County is one of maybe 3 or 4 counties that are growing substantially in the state. Ottawa, Kent, Livingston, Washtenaw, maybe, I don't know. There's not a lot of them that are growing. So, but yet, I understand what you're saying.
And there's a lot of needs out there that I know we could probably spend all afternoon trying to figure out. But any other questions?
What does the MDOT toll road study show?
That's probably something I'd rather have somebody else come here and explain. If there's a lot of moving parts to that. There's a lot of scenarios on how much toll would be and how, you know, what the system would look like. I've seen some maps of potential toll facilities, but you're probably better off getting somebody that's more.
Is there a good canned presentation that MDOT's taking on the road to discuss it, or is it still too much of a hot topic, or maybe not vetted enough to go out?
Jason and I used to be region planners, and there's another region planner that has worked extensively on that, and I talked to her, Carrie. So I don't, again, a lot of this is done at the direction of the legislature. I don't know how much of it's, you know, we have to kind of go with what they want and when they want it public. So, but talk to her, or I can talk to her and tell you you're interested.
No, that'd be good. It'd be a nice reunion. All right, well, thank you. Thank you. All right, well, we're looking forward to those projects and adding them to our tip. Federal Highway's not here, so we're going to jump right in on the administrative update. The financial report that you guys got is almost done. It's not quite. I just got off the phone with Chris before I left for the meeting today. We still have stuff into MDOT, and we're still waiting for stuff back from them. So we close out last year, probably at the end of the month or first week of November. We should have everything back in. So I would say that's good information you have in front of you, but it's not complete. We'll be able to do the finalize that next month. But everything's looking good. We're gearing up for the audit, which is always Thanksgiving week.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yes.
As you're looking at this, it's you know, common to look just at the bottom line. Where do we end the year up? And we have like a $230,000 ahead of budget position, so we'll have a cash surplus for the year. But that includes $100,000 and some worth of CEP money that went in on the ledger here. So if you back that out, it looks like it's more like about $90,000 to $100,000 based on current financials. And then we have the pluses and minuses, as Jason mentioned, coming in.
Yep. Yeah, which will be much more clear, certainly, in November. But yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Bill.
And really separately, but I was going to make the same CEP point. I don't think that's a discussion here, but I'd love to connect on kind of where that program is at, and maybe I need to talk to my representative too. But
yeah, we had a CEP last week. It was a good meeting. So I think we're due for an update here for sure.
That'd be good.
Yep. Okay, great. All right, jumping into our exec committee. Really, the report is basically the next 3 items, which are memos in your packet. One, just kind of FYI, our commercial insurance. I worked with Sherry Miranda. That's who I work with every year, so it was a good conversation. And our property crime general liability, that insurance proposal came in. It's up $1,000, $1,069. So we went from $7,843 to $8,912. So that was right in line with what everybody's saying. And actually, I think other areas it went up more. So we're happy with that number. So that's the FYI there. And then jumping in on our election of officers. So the memo, pretty much what we're trying to do here, and in it, it covers who's currently on the exec committee. And we feel like after our discussion at exec committee is let's just today put forth election of officers. Let's just keep it the same, knowing that we're going to have to update it and modify it come February timeframe. And really the backstory on that before we jump into it really is obviously election year. Election year we have to deal with, and our bylaws dictate that we do this in October. So what I'm hoping to do is to have a quick discussion on that, is revising those bylaws. So if we go to the next, let's if everyone's okay with it, let's do a motion to put forth the election of officers, keep it the same as it is currently. So moved, all right, and support, and we got support, all right. Any other comments with that? Then all in favor of keeping the election of, or as presented, the election of officers as it is today, as presented, please say aye. Sorry about that. And opposed, same sign. All right, I barely got through that, thank you. Okay, so bylaw revision. As I said, we all know that election time, there's changes, and then the other thing is there are at the county level, appointment of officers. We have members on the board that are appointed, and usually that happens in January. Maybe it might spill into February. So what we discussed at the exec committee is, why don't we do it at our second official meeting of the calendar year every year? That way we have everything set. It's all there. There shouldn't be any surprises, and then we'll just make that change. So I dove into our bylaws, and obviously we can make those changes. But our bylaws require each municipality to go back to their respective boards and approve those changes as well. So what I was doing is a little bit of wordsmithing, and honestly, the way it's written up, I was going to have a slide. Sorry, I didn't have that ready, but the wordsmithing really is, it's going to be not even a sentence, as opposed to doing it in October of every year. We're going to just change it to February of each calendar year. But to be able to get that together and making sure that everyone's okay with it, kind of wanted to do it two-part, is have the board approve that that's the right thing to do and make the change, and then kind of direct me to get that language together and to get it out to everybody, and then take it back to their boards respectively. So that's kind of what I'm asking here. But before I do that, are there any questions or discussions that anybody wants to have? It seems pretty clear-cut and pretty easy, but there are a lot of steps that we're going to have to go through.
When do you think you can get the language out to us?
I should be able to by the end of the week. It's very easy, very, very simple. I can basically mimic exactly what's in the current, and then here's what I'd like to change it to.
No, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Was there any discussion to make Terry Mean-Heiss a permanent position?
Forever, yeah. 20 more years, maybe.
Wow, I'll second that.
I'll need a walker to get in here.
Well, it's all about transportation.
No, that's good. All right, so looking for a motion to move forward. And
I'll make that motion.
fantastic.
Second.
And we got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. I will get that updated language to you guys, and we'll go from there. Okay, member comments. Should we start with Fillmore, since we're in Fillmore?
Are we in Fillmore?
That's Lake Town, this is Phil.
Yeah. Right there.
No, I really don't have anything.
Okay, all right. Very good. Then we'll go Jim, how about?
If we're not doing anything on Veterans Day, November 11th, we're going to rededicate our Union soldier statue that we moved from one corner of our courthouse square to another. It's guarded our courthouse for 120 years, and so we hope it will continue that way. The ceremony is at 11:45. Won't be long, but should be a cool way. Hopefully we get a day like today, but this is Michigan.
Very nice.
We're moving forward with our manager search. We've got the first round of interviews on Wednesday.
I heard there's quite a.
We had 42 applicants. The consultant narrowed it down to 9, and then we met last week and narrowed it down primarily to 3, but 5 are coming in. And so we'll do first round on Wednesday.
Great.
Fingers crossed. That's why I want the language. It's like if I can get it done while everything's still intact, it'll just be easier.
You're right.
Good beer, a lot going on, but the one thing I'll highlight is anyone interested in touring our new fire station that we built at 32nd and Waverly. There's a community open house tomorrow night from 5:30 to 8. Love to see you there.
Nathan usually does about a half hour, Keith. So.
I know. No, I can see him doing that. I'll stay after. Any questions you have, I'll answer, Kevin.
We're just wrapping up construction. We've been pretty quiet.
That's good. Quiet's good in the road world. All right. Larry?
Yeah, kind of the same thing with us. We couldn't ask for a much better fall to do road work in. But yeah, we're trying to wrap everything up and everything seems to be going pretty well.
Fantastic.
I think we're working a little bit on some of the courts by the township hall, pickle and tennis. I don't know if they're going to try to get that done before weather changes. That's pretty much it.
We're having our Main Street, the east end repaved today. It was was milled and now we're resurfacing. So our Pazer rating should go up. And our snow melt and in Main Street construction, the downtown area, it looks like it will probably be finished up by next week. And if you want some candy, you come out Thursday afternoon, 3 to 5, or downtown trick or treat. So if you're nice, I'll give you a piece.
Our rec center is moving along per schedule. Things are looking good for the ribbon cutting somewhere in late May, perhaps early June. But excitement is building, and a lot of work to do yet, but it's going smoothly so far.
Nice. We've got a pre-con meeting this week for our bike path from on 76 and 74th between Adams and Byron Road. The contractor's hoping to maybe do some of the boardwalk work this fall yet, this winter, and then we'll finish it up next spring. So it should be done by the middle of summer.
Pretty quiet in Isle Township. Looking forward to having the election behind us.
Sure. Yes, indeed. All right. Thank you. Any other comments?
The business loop, like I said, looks like it's done. When does it open?
When does
Business loop open?
any day now is what I heard. We'll make some calls. It's getting close.
Well, I saw on the board it said November 11th. It looks like a lot closer than that.
Yeah, everybody said they were ahead of schedule, but they didn't want to jinx it.
We find out
Can we call Blair? He knows, right? All right, we'll call. All right, so next meeting, November 25th. So looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, and supported? All in favor? All right, thank you.
Now, the next MACC meeting, you've moved back 2 days because
Yes.
of Veterans Day.
Yep, exactly.
What about the executive committee?
Do you, I was thinking we could do it on the same day as the TAC if people want. what do you think? I mean,